Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NXT UK from August 25th, 2022, recorded at BT Sports Studios in London, England. There's a lot going on. I don't even know where to start, but we'll start the second to last ever episode of NXT UK. We'll just get right into it and we'll talk about it as it goes. There's just so much stuff. Some of it is already been spoiled. If you've been watching NXT 2.0, you can catch my reviews of NXT 2.0 on this channel where I go to it more in depth. But I'm still going to try and treat this like there might be some UK fans that have not watched NXT 2.0 and have not had things spoiled. So this will be a spoiler episode as much as I can, while still giving you some information about what's going on. But like I said, this is the last episode of NXT UK ever. We start with a recap video of how all four men in tonight's semifinals match of the tournament to crown a new NXT and the last NXT UK champion after Ilya Dragunov got injured a month ago. We see how everybody won their first round matches to lead up to tonight's semifinals, and we also get highlights from the Heritage Cup match where Mark Coffey defeated Noam to win the cup last month. So those two will be in the main event tonight, having Noam Dar getting a rematch against Mark Coffey, and the winner of that will be the last ever Heritage Cup champion in NXT UK history. So let's just get right into it. Trent Seven comes out for his semifinal match, and he'll be taking on an injured, bad knee, has Oliver Carter has. So sadly, we already know that Trent Seven has been released by WWE and will not be going to NXT 2.0 with the rest of the people that survived. That's really unfortunate and unfortunate. Just you hate to see it. So in a picture-in-picture video now, Trent Seven says that it has been my destiny to be the man atop the mountain and to be NXT UK champion. A one-legged man will not stand in my way. So the crowd is booing Trent Seven out of the building after Trent turned on his Mustache Mountain partner Tyler Bate right after they lost the tag titles to Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter, who is in this match, Oliver Carter. The crowd hates him. Oliver Carter comes out the big cheers from the crowd and is limping severely on his bad knee. So Oliver Carter has been one of the lucky ones to not be released. However, his injured tag team partner Ashton Smith has been let go. So another unfortunate release. In the picture-in-picture video, Oliver Carter says that I've gotten through some tough times and now I've got this knee issue, but nothing motivates me more than the thought of being the hottest NXT UK champion under the sun. So Oliver gets in the ring and he's going to have a tough night ahead of him against someone in Trent Seven who will definitely target his injury with zero remorse and no mercy. So the winner of this match will be in the finals next week in the final ever NXT UK match to become the final ever NXT UK champion. Oliver Carter does his best to stay away from Trent at the beginning of this, but his speed and agility is hampered by his knee injury. Oliver gets a headlock and takes Trent down, kicking him in the head. Oliver then Trent gets thrown out of the ring, and Oliver hits a plancha to the outside, taking Trent down. However, Oliver Carter landed hard and badly on his knee and is in screaming in pain now. When Oliver gets into the ring, he's caught by Trent with his bad knee on the ropes with the dragon screw leg whip. Oliver's screaming in big time pain now, and that was one of the worst things that could have happened to him. So Trent Seven now slams Oliver down on his injured knee. The crowd is booing and Oliver screaming in pain. Trent attacks the leg even more, keeping the pace slow here. Oliver does get a surprise roll up, but only for a 2 count. Then Trent kicks him really hard after that. Oliver gets to his feet, but Trent is able to attack the knee again, also hitting some massive chops to the chest. Trent hyperextends the leg across the ropes and hits a chop to the knee of all things. I've never seen a chop to the knee before, but here it is. That showed you how good Trent is. He's just so innovative. Anyway, Trent hits a knee breaker now, and Oliver tries to fight back with another roll up for a 2 count. Oliver is able to get up and hit some chops now, but Trent blocks the next attack and kicks the knee, attacking it further with more attacks after that. Oliver is only going to be able to win with roll-ups at this point. That's all he can basically do out there. Oliver's fired up, however, and showing that he can do a little bit more, hitting 2 big forearms and a lariat. Oliver can't even walk, but he hobbles over to stay on the attack and hits a one-legged rolling Liger kick. That was really cool, followed by a single-legged springboard moonsault for a 2 count. Good stuff, showing that he can do some things even with his really hurt knee. Oliver's now showing a ton of heart and somehow is back in this match, but one missed kick from Oliver cost him as Trent hits 2 big slams in a row. Oliver has the fighting spirit to kick out of this in 2, but is in rough shape now. Oliver's able to counter a 7-star lariat attempt with a forearm and then follows that with a super kick and a middle rope drop kick. Oliver then hits an axe kick and almost wins the match here, but Trent Seven's just barely able to kick out. Both men get to their feet, but Oliver falls back to the mat while trying to do a running attack. He just crumples to the ground in pain. Oliver's able to roll Trent up, but only for a 2 count for a third time here. Then Trent hits a chop block on the knee and applies the figure 7 leg lock. Holy crap. Oliver's caught in the middle of the ring and tries to drag himself to the ropes, but Trent Seven pulls him back to the middle. So Oliver desperately tries to strike himself free, but his strikes are too weak. Trent seemingly has knocked Oliver out, but Oliver kicks out of a pin attempt while he's still in the figure 7. Trent then punches the knee, still has the figure 7 applied, and this forces Oliver Carter to tap out. The winner of this match by pinfall, Trent Seven, who now moves on to the finals next week for a chance to be the final ever NXT UK champion. Trent will be watching this next match very closely as Tyler Bate, his former partner, will be taking on Joe Coffey from Gallus in the other semifinal. That match will be next. And I don't have a whole lot to say. Like, I already know who's going to win the tournament, and I already know that NXT UK will be no more. So we'll kind of talk about some of the stuff on NXT 2.0 without going in the spoiler territory at the end. But I really can't give too much analysis on this other than saying that was a good match where they worked the knee. I like the offense from Oliver that he showed. That he could do with only one knee. I like how he tried to do a running attack, but then crumpled to the ground and stuff like that. And also tried various different ways to get out of the figure 7, but it's just Oliver showed so much heart and at the end couldn't get past it. So Oliver Carter, I'm pretty sure, has survived all the mass cut and layoffs from NXT UK, and hopefully we'll see Oliver Carter in NXT 2.0 in the near future. So now we see Noam Dar's warming up in the back. He's looking all business tonight with a chance to take the Heritage Cup home with him forever, as they will be in the main event. So then we go to a commercial break. When we come back, we see Mark and Joe Coffey warming up. Each of them has huge matches coming up tonight, and they both look confident and shake hands and hug. Then Joe Coffey leaves to go get ready for the next match as Tyler Bate comes out first. The crowd's absolutely in love with Tyler Bate. He's the first ever NXT UK champion, and he wants to be the last champion, which would also make Tyler the only 2-time NXT UK champion. So in a picture-in-picture interview thing here, Tyler Bate says, "The big strong boy moves one step closer to becoming the 2-time NXT UK champion and one step closer to getting my hands on Trent Seven." So Tyler Bate looks ready for this one. Despite already talking about Trent Seven, he looks locked in for this match as the Gallus music now hits and the studio's bathed in the green light as Joe Coffey comes out alone for this big semifinal match. In a picture-in-picture video, Joe Coffey says, "Round 1, done and dusted. We say bye-bye to Mark Andrews. On to the semifinal against the big, strong boy, Tyler Bate. But he goes against a man made of iron. I'll be walking straight through the finals, and then I'll be the one with the gold smiling, because this is my kingdom." Then Joe Coffey gets in the ring, and wow, after sitting through 11 of those terrible picture-in-picture promos during this tournament, we finally got a good one on the 12th try. So that was actually a decent promo. Anyway, NXT UK's really was kind of phoning it in during these last tapings. The management clearly knew that what was about to happen with them folding and being no more. And the management, whoever was in charge, I feel like they knew these were the last tapings. And even if the wrestlers didn't know, they must have smelled something fishy and knew something was up. Anyway, the crowd chants Tyler's our champion, which is a nice little thing here. The two men shake hands as the bell rings, and then they go for the fight here. Tyler Bate is able to get wrist control. Joe uses his good agility for his size to flip out of this and take wrist control himself. Tyler counters back, but so does Joe, and then Tyler again. Then Joe tries a roll up and transitions it into a Boston Crab, but Tyler's able to block it. Joe then blocks a headlock takeover, and then they collide about 4 times in a row with shoulder tackles, nobody moving an inch. So Tyler tries a drop kick instead, and then is able to knock Joe Coffey down. Then Tyler Bate quickens the pace using his agility and speed advantage here to take Joe down again. This just fires up Joe Coffey, who hits a massive running attack, sending Tyler crashing into the corner awkwardly. Joe then hits a backbreaker, getting a 2 count already, but there's still a lot of fight left in Tyler Bate. Tyler then jumps into a bear hug on accident and is able to back elbow his way out of it quickly. Joe then hits a big strike, lifts Tyler up on his shoulders, but Tyler counters this attack into a roll up for a 2 count. Joe gets right up, crushes Tyler with a running crossbody. Tyler's able to kick out, but he looks hurt after that one. Joe picks him up, crashing Tyler's back into the corner, then applying another bear hug. This takes longer for Tyler to get out the second time, but Tyler does, and he hits an airplane spin after that, but only after a few spins. Joe Coffey's able to counter it into a pin for a 2 count. Joe then does a giant swing like Cesaro used to do, and both men now are down dizzy. The crowd's super loud, and they're singing songs this entire match. Both men get up and start a striking exchange, and then it gets pretty nasty here as neither men will back down. Tyler then hits a massive punch that floors Joe Coffey, but Tyler goes down 2 from the exchange. They both get up. Tyler blocks a charging Joe Coffey and hits a middle rope back elbow. That looks pretty good. Tyler then hits an overhead suplex and a running shooting star press. Wow. Joe's able to kick out of this one, but he's in trouble now. Tyler fires up even more with help from the crowd, and Joe blocks his attack, hitting an overhead suplex of his own now. Tyler kicks out at 2 and can't take too many more big shots like that. He might still have the fire that burns inside, but his smaller body frame might give out in him with too many more big attacks like that. Tyler blocks a corner attack here and tries that middle rope back elbow again, but Joe saw it coming and he turns it into another big suplex right after that last one. Tyler's kicks out, but one more big shot might do it, and Joe can smell that the advantage is on his side, so he locks in a Boston Crab, looking to end it now. Tyler's caught right in the middle of the ropes, and as strong as Tyler Bate is, Joe Coffey is just as strong. Tyler almost gets to the ropes, but Joe overpowers him and puts him back in the middle. Tyler's in bad shape, but he's able to turn over onto his back, hitting some up kicks to get Joe off of him. Tyler then has to be super careful. One more of those big suplex might end it for him. Tyler hits a big knee strike, but Joe blocks the next attack. Tyler is able to roll out of the way of the Glasgow send-off. Then Tyler hits a springboard crossbody for a 2 count as the entire crowd is now chanting NXT. And that kind of made me sad because these fans are about to lose their NXT UK and they don't even know it yet, which is just a sad situation to watch. Both men are now down. Definitely go watch this match if you haven't seen it. Joe Coffey against Tyler Bate. It has been awesome so far. Both men recover a little bit and use the ropes to get up. They now talk trash and both charge for it at the same time, hitting clotheslines 2 times in a row to each other. Neither man goes down, but then Joe counters a lariat, hitting his head into the arm. That looked cool. Then Joe counters a ricochet lariat here with a discus lariat of his own at the same time. That was amazing. Big shot there. Unfortunately for Joe Coffey, he could not make the cover as he was too hurt. They both get up. Joe hits a punch, but Tyler hits a rolling Liger kick. They counter each other back and forth here a couple of times until Tyler gets a roll up. This time the referee counts 1, 2, 3. The winner of this match by pinfall, the strong boy, Tyler Bate. Really good match here. Make sure you watch this one, but it probably won't be the last great match for NXT UK because this now sets up next week on the final episode of NXT UK. In the final match, it'll be Tyler Bate taking on Trent Seven to see who will be the final NXT UK champion. So while Tyler Bate is celebrating in the ring here, Trent Seven strolls on out, and Trent's talking trash while the crowd's chanting, "Tyler's gonna kill you." And then Tyler wants Trent to get in the ring. Trent just stands there, talks some more trash, and there's a grandma in the crowd making fun of Trent Seven while this is happening. That was hilarious. Good stuff there. So I guess there is no better match to have, no more fitting match than the last match in NXT UK to be Mustache Mountain against Mustache Mountain. That should be a good one to close this out next week. Now we go backstage where Sid tells us that next week, the other match, there's only going to be 2 matches, I think, next week, because we'll probably get a really long title match between Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. The only other match will be a number one contenders match for the NXT UK women's title, a 4-way between Isla Dawn, Amel, Eliza Alexander, and Blair Davenport. So this match has already been spoiled if you watch NXT 2.0, but we did get the surprise appearance on NXT 2.0 this week of the NXT UK champion and the final boss of the women's division, Miko Satomura. So that was awesome. That will set up a triple threat match a week from Sunday at Worlds Collide, where both the NXT UK men's and women's titles will be unified with their NXT counterparts in champion versus champion matches. However, the winner of next week's 4-way will be added to the women's one to create a triple threat match. Those are going to be good shows, and I'll definitely be covering the Worlds Collide event, which is, I guess you could say, is the official last event for NXT UK, the NXT UK Final Stand, and that's where all the belts will be unified. I'm pretty sure the tag belts will be unified in a 4-way match as well. That one just hasn't been set up quite as of yet. There's only 1 week of NXT 2.0 to set that matchup and any other matches that might happen. So we might get some big surprises. We did see a big surprise as well. Not only is Gallus in NXT 2.0 now, but we saw Charlie Dempsey. Looks like the rest of D Familia aren't going to be joining them, and they have been released. But Charlie Dempsey is going to be on NXT 2.0. Also, we don't know if Mako Satomura is going to stay in NXT 2.0 or America for that matter. But hopefully, even if she doesn't stay, which I hope she does, hopefully we get the Mako Satomura Saray match that NXT UK told us was going to happen for an entire month, even having a press conference for it. But then we just never got that match. They didn't really tell us why, and now NXT UK is going away. Really kind of strange how all that worked out. But we'll see how it works out in NXT 2.0, as well as, I won't talk about it now because we next see when we come back from an ad break. This was a little strange to see. We get a video package here on NXT UK explaining that NXT Europe is coming in 2023. They treat it as if NXT UK was so good that it had to grow to all of Europe. And meanwhile, a bunch of people that just were released are shown with no mention of them getting fired in highlight packages here. That was super awkward to see. No mention of NXT UK being gone after next week either. Where we'll see and the new NXT UK champion crowned and the finals champion be crowned, as well as that number one contenders 4-way match in the women's division. If you haven't watched NXT 2.0, I won't spoil it, but both of those damn matches next week have already been spoiled on NXT 2.0. So it's time for tonight's main event and the second to last ever NXT UK episode. Noam Dar comes out. Shaw Samuels is nowhere to be found. So Shaw was also released last week, but he might show up at some point as this was taped a month ago. The crowd chants Supernova for Dar, and they actually boo a little bit when Mark Coffey then comes out next. So the last time these two fought, the crowd was all behind Mark Coffey. So that's definitely very interesting. But there are still people that cheer for Mark Coffey as he comes out to defend the Heritage Cup title. So Mark comes out alone as well. Here we go. The last ever Heritage Cup match of all time, and the first round starts a little bit slow here. So if you're new to the Heritage Cup rules, it's 6 3-minute rounds. You need 2 falls to win the match. If it goes all the rounds, then the champion retains the title. So first round starts slow here as neither man wants to make the first mistake. The crowd's chanting for both men here, and then Dar gets marked down to the mat. Mark Coffey counters into a hold, but Dar gets to the ropes right away. Noam Dar then gets wrist control, but Mark reverses it into a headlock. Dar then misses a big kick and a lariat attempt right after that. Mark is fired up, and Dar's looking a little frustrated as they tie up as round 1 is nearing its end. Mark gets a go behind and hits 2 big moves on Dar as the round ends. Mark lets Dar get up, but Dar gets in his face here, and the referee has to back them up as they go to their corners to wait the 10 seconds between rounds. As round 2 now starts, Dar gets Mark to the mat right away and applies an armbar, but Mark gets to his feet or reverses it into an arm drag, getting an armbar of his own. Dar then gets up, flips out of this armbar, and gets a nice takedown, applying a headlock on Mark. Mark is able to get out and counter another headlock. Then Dar takes control, but Mark takes it right back. So really good catch-as-catch-can grappling in this Heritage Cup match. So main event in the second to final NXT UK of all time. Dar now gets a snap mirror takedown and kicks Mark hard before applying another headlock. Mark Coffey then strikes himself free and applies a headlock of his own. Noam Dar gets out of this and kicks the knee. Mark gets a roll-up for a 2 count. Dar then hits a big strike, but Mark Coffey counters his charge with a back elbow. Then Noam Dar evades a diving attack here, hitting a nice flying forearm for a 2 count. Dar then stomps on the arm twice, the leg once, and he's about to stomp on the leg again, but the bell saves Mark Coffey from further damage. Noam Dar thought about a cheap shot after the bell, but he backed off into his corner. So they reset, and round 3 now starts as nobody's on the board yet. Remember, you have to win 2 pinfalls to win the match, and a draw will keep the cup with Mark if that happens. Mark Coffey is fired up here in the 3rd round, hitting a big lariat and a back body drop. Noam Dar evades a corner attack, but Mark is still able to catch Dar on the next attack. Dar gets thrown down hard, but is able to hit a big roundhouse kick when he gets back up. Mark Coffey's just barely able to kick out, but he's super dazed now. Noam Dar lines him up nicely, but Mark recovers in time and gets Noam Dar down to the ground, and Mark Coffey hits a nasty-looking sliding forearm, getting the 1-2-3. So the first pinfall goes to Mark Coffey. Remember, you have to win 2 pinfalls. Or, just falls. You could be a submission. So Noam Dar is still down from this big, nasty sliding forearm, and Noam Dar is hurt. So doctors come in to check and see how he's doing, and they decide that Noam Dar can continue. However, Noam has used the entire 10 seconds between rounds. He hasn't even gotten up off the mat yet as the bell rings for the start round 4. Noam Dar tries and fails to get up. The referee's having a good hard look at Dar here as Dar then charges in the mark, but his attack was very weak and the fight gets to the rope. Mark Coffey is showing a little bit of compassion here, giving him a clean break and not attacking. Dar then fights back, so Mark hits some more big strikes since he's going to fight back. Dar can't quite get up and he rolls out of the ring. Mark goes to roll after him and rolls Dar back in. The referee then prevents Mark from attacking further. This allows Dar to hit an attack, but then collapses again. So the referee holds Mark back for a second time, which is ridiculous. Either call the match or let Mark attack him. Of course, Dar is able to now fire up. It must have been a ruse, and he applies a heel hook with a knee bar, and this forces Mark Coffey to tap out. So the second fall of this match goes to Noam Dar, and we have 2 rounds left. The next fall wins the match, and if it goes the 2 rounds, Mark keeps the cup. Noam Dar's fired up, but Mark hits a huge lariat followed by a running back elbow. Mark hits a running bulldog after that, and Noam Dar's just barely able to kick out and save the match. Mark now blocks a roll-up attempt and applies a crossface. Mark then breaks the hold to drag Dar to the middle of the ring, but this allows Noam Dar to counter the move, and Mark counters right back, hitting a nasty spinning back elbow. Or Dar hits that nasty spinning back elbow right back. So good counter wrestling here. Mark's just barely able to kick out of that spinning back elbow to save the match. Now Noam Dar goes up to the top rope. Mark meets him up there, and Dar escapes the superplex here, and it kicks the back of the knee of Mark. Mark then evades a diving attempt and blocks another heel hook knee bar attempt, but Dar is able to apply the heel hook right afterward, and Mark's caught in it for a little while before the bell rings to end round 5. So he's saved by the bell again here as we go to the final round with the champion Mark Coffey having a badly damaged leg, and Dar's still a little woozy from that sliding forearm. Noam Dar then applies a guillotine right away, but the power advantage of Mark Coffey is able to get him out. Dar then hits an elbow strike to the top of the head. Then Mark hits a nasty lariat in response. Noam Dar rolls him up, almost winning the match. Then Mark gets out, hitting a half Nelson slam right after that. Noam Dar rolls out of the ring to avoid another one of those sliding forearms, but Dar only makes it to the apron, so Mark Coffey hits the sliding forearm, sending Noam Dar out of the ring. Mark goes out and rolls Dar back in. The referee then checks on Noam Dar, while all of a sudden Shaw Samuels jumps out of the crowd. He throws Mark Coffey into the ring post, and then Shaw rolls Mark Coffey back into the ring. Noam Dar hits a Shining Wizard and gets the 1-2-3. Wow. So the winner of this match, the new and final Heritage Cup champion, the Scottish Supernova 11, Noam Dar, who has somehow kept his job with all these releases. Noam Dar gets to take the Heritage Cup home forever, and he gets to keep his job. Unfortunately, he's now hugging and celebrating with Shaw Samuels, who didn't get to keep his job. So we'll see if any of these people that were released get to be hired back whenever NXT Europe joins. Just be aware, even though they say NXT Europe is in 2023, it could be like in over a year from now. It could be December of 2023. It doesn't mean it's going to be in January, February, March, April. It could be November, December. So there could be a long layoff here. They brought a few people over to NXT 2.0. The rest got released. Hopefully they can get some money and some jobs and work opportunity in the meantime, and maybe get hired back for NXT Europe. So anyway, we close out the second to last episode ever of NXT UK with Noam Dar and Shaw Samuels ripping the green ribbons off the Heritage Cup trophy, and then they kiss it as the episode ends. So we've only got one more episode of NXT UK, maybe forever. I'd have to imagine once NXT Europe is a thing, I don't think NXT UK will ever come back. Maybe if the global expansion is so good that they have to start going out into like you move up from NXT UK and NXT France and NXT Germany to go up to NXT Europe. Maybe that'll be a thing, but probably not in the next like 20 years for sure. So sad days for the NXT UK fans, who I felt a little sad for them when they were chanting NXT in the crowd when they really loved the Tyler Bate match earlier, chanting NXT. That was a little sad to see, but it is what it is. Hopefully everybody that got released can get back on their feet. Meanwhile, the ones that weren't released are going to be at a big event a week from Saturday. It'll be Worlds Collide, NXT UK against NXT 2.0, the last stand, the final stand from NXT UK. And they'll be combining or unifying all the NXT UK titles into the current NXT titles. So all three of them. The Heritage Cup will just stay home with Noam Dar, and it won't be combined with the North American titles. So kind of a sad day, like I said, for NXT UK fans. We'll see if NXT Europe can become a bigger and better thing. Maybe it'll be even better. But in the meantime, we've got one more episode to cover next week. It will be the crown, the last ever NXT UK champion, as Mustache Mountain collides Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. And the winner of that will go on to take on Braun Breaker in a unification match at Worlds Collide a week from Sunday, I should say. So also we'll see the second to last ever match. That'll be the last match. The second to last ever one will be a four-way match. Amel, Isla Dawn, Blair Davenport, and Eliza Alexander to become the number one contender. And then the winner of that will join the unification match at Worlds Collide. It'll be a triple threat with Meiko Satomura, the NXT UK champion, Mandy Rose, the NXT women's champion, and the winner of that number one contendership being in the triple threat match for the unification. It looks like it's not official yet, but the tag titles will also be unified in a four-way match, which will feature a bunch of former champions of the NXT UK brand. It'll be Pretty Deadly taking on Briggs and Jensen, who are the current NXT UK champions, taking on who else is in that? Gallus, the Coffey, might be the Coffey brothers, but it might be Wolfgang as well. Somebody from the Gallus. And then the fourth team in that will be the Creed brothers, who Gallus have attacked, and they are the current NXT champions. So we've basically got those three title unification matches set up for Worlds Collide. We'll find out who's in those matches. Unless you've already watched NXT 2.0, then it's already been spoiled for you. But next week on NXT UK, we'll find out who goes to those unification matches, and we'll also find out on NXT 2.0 this coming Tuesday what are some of the other matches announced for Worlds Collide. So that'll be the last stand for NXT UK. They won't come back ever. The titles will be gone. They'll be unified with the NXT titles. Some of the better people on the roster will be fortunate enough to come to America to work. The others will just have to wait patiently. Hopefully they can still put the roof over their head and food in their stomachs until NXT Europe is announced, or whenever the date for that to come out. Don't forget, it could be March, and it could be November, so it could be over a year from now until NXT Europe is born. So hopefully not, but we'll see how that goes, and I'll be here to cover all of that, as well as NXT Level Up, so you get all the latest NXT news if you follow me on this channel. Some of the most in-depth NXT news on the internet for sure. I could tell you definitely come join when I stream the universe mode for NXT during my WWE 2K universe modes. Definitely some of the deepest NXT rosters as well. I've got people on there that I'm sure you haven't even heard about. So come check that out as well. Give me a subscribe and a like, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Enjoy your time, and I'll talk to you again later. Peace.